Welcome to Wine and Real Estate, the podcast where we drink wine, we have fun, and we learn about real estate investing. Real estate investing is so much more than just buying buildings. It's about building relationships, building your dreams, building your dream lifestyle, customizing your life. What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? It's much more than money. It's more than getting rich. It's a different type of wealth. It's the wealth of time, the wealth of freedom. And now let's get to the wine and the real estate. Let's start this episode with some financing tips from our go-to mortgage broker, Streetwise Mortgages. Over to you, Dalia.
Hi, I'm Dalia, founder of Streetwise Mortgages, and in today's episode, I will continue to share with you how to align financing with your chosen investment strategy. Today's strategy is private lending. Private lending is a passive investment strategy that entails lending money to others while securing the funds against one or more properties the borrower owns. In other words, you're acting as a bank to the borrower and your funds are secured as a mortgage. These mortgages can be in first position or second, third, fourth, or nth position behind other lenders. The higher the number, the higher the risk, and I highly suggest against anything in third position onward, even if the returns look fantastic on paper. As an investor, your returns on a private mortgage can include the interest payments the borrower makes on your loan, to lender fees that you earn for lending the funds, to administrative fees such as penalties the borrower may pay for breaking the loan, or to renew it or to discharge it. Each loan is unique, and the returns can range from 7 to 15% on mortgages in first and second positions. Sometimes higher, but you always have to look at the risks you're taking for the returns you're earning. With private money, you can lend under your personal name or a corporation. You can also use cash, secured lines of credit, registered funds, or a combination of all three. Here is what to watch for when it comes to financing when investing in this strategy. Number 1, when lending using a secured line of credit, be careful of the implications to your borrowing power. While you are earning interest to offset the interest on the lines of credit, the lenders will not take this revenue into consideration unless you have reported the interest on your tax returns for 2 years in a row. This means that the lenders will take the debt only into account, which may impact your borrowing power if you're looking to refinance or purchase a property. Number 2, look beyond the double-digit returns. When getting into this strategy, most investors ask primarily about the returns and rarely about the risks. It is important to understand the risks associated with the loan, which include market risks, borrower risks, and property risks. For details about the risks and how to hedge, you can email us at info@streetwisemortgages.com and request a copy of the Beyond the Double Digits Return article. Number 3, understand what you are lending against. The condition of the property you're securing the funds against and an objective assessment of its current value are really important when it comes to protecting your money in case the borrower defaults on the loan and you need to take control of the property. Obtain a copy of the appraisal report and ensure it's recent, I would say within 3 months, and is ordered through a third-party appraisal company, not one that is provided by the borrower. I have seen investors lend out promissory notes for attractive returns, and while they may be registered on title, they are not secured as a mortgage and are not secured against the value. So if the borrower defaults, unfortunately, the chances of getting that money back are reduced significantly. Number 4, understand and validate the borrower's exit strategy for paying back your loan. It is not sufficient to just go with the assumption that a borrower will refinance, as there are many lending factors that will play a role when the time comes. Lean on experienced mortgage brokers who can help you validate the exit strategy. If you are looking to invest in private mortgages and are looking for a mortgage broker to help you structure your deals and mitigate your risks, contact us at info@streetwisemortgages.com. Cheers to your success.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wine and Real Estate. And Jennifer, unfortunately, is not available today, so it's just me, your host, Francois. But today I have a very, very special guest, Costa Rica Matt. If you look him up on YouTube, Jennifer and I have been following him for months on our crazy adventure to Costa Rica. And I'd love to hear Matt's story. So I have heard it on his YouTube channel, but I want you guys to also benefit from his story. So, welcome, Matt. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Francois. It's a big pleasure. I was fortunate enough to move here in 2008. I originally signed up for a U.S. volunteer organization called the Peace Corps, which sends volunteers abroad for 2-year terms to serve in the remote, far-flung corners of the world. And I was extremely fortunate to get Costa Rica as the country I was offered.
Nice.
Oh yeah, it definitely could have been a different kind of place that I was sent. And one thing led to another. While I was in Peace Corps, I really fell in love with the country, and particularly this part of Costa Rica where I currently live, which is Guanacaste.
Yes, I love it too. I haven't seen the rest of the country, but so far it's gorgeous.
Yeah, Guanacaste is a special place. It's not just lush tropical rainforest like you might expect in Costa Rica, but it has a cattle ranching history and a dry season in the year. Costa Rica itself is a special country, not only because they abolished their standing army in 1948, but because consistently the culture, the friendliness of the people really stand out among Central American cultures. And you see that it's an extremely welcoming place to be. They've limited their development right on the beach through very strict environmental protection laws.
Which is genius, in my opinion. We don't end up with Acapulco everywhere and Cancun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And beyond that, they've done a huge amount of environmental protection over their national surface. So it's a friendly, welcoming place with enormous amounts of natural resources, 25% of the land protected through one status or another, and just all around a culture that makes people happy. And it couldn't be a more enjoyable place to live if you're someone who's looking for that natural beauty and sort of easygoing way of living.
No, I agree. And it's amazing. And I'll be a bit indiscreet, but I think you have young kids. I think they were born in Costa Rica as well. So that's quite a bold move. Like some people might be, oh, this is scary to be born in a different country or what have you. But how was the experience as well? This is more personal, but we'll get to business after.
Yeah, no, the experience for me was terrific.
Your wife then, or your spouse?
Yeah, no, we moved together down here. After I had finished my volunteer stint with Peace Corps, I went back to the U.S., essentially picked up Anne-Marie, and we moved down here together. She was my girlfriend from college. We had been together long before. She was ready to move to Costa Rica and came with me in 2011 for my second job here. And we decided to have kids here because we could see ourselves building lives here. And we had access to brilliant private health care that made, I think, for Anne-Marie, the experience of childbirth about as enjoyable as it can be.
Yeah, that's it. Within reason.
Yeah. Both of our kids were born in small private hospitals where the staff attention was incredible, where we felt like we had someone catering to our every need. The first time when Jonas was born, I don't think there was a single other patient in this boutique hospital. So yeah, that was amazing. We got a lot better attention than you might find in large hospitals elsewhere.
Yeah.
And raising them here has been special because they are exposed to a lot of stuff that they simply can't enjoy anymore in the U.S. My hometown in Indiana would not be offering them the same kind of opportunity to get out and enjoy nature, explore the ocean for sure.
Every day.
Yeah, so it's been a remarkable experience, and very much we're happy we decided to have our kids here.
That's amazing. And now fast forward to 2022, you're now a realtor. You've been a realtor for a number of years as well.
Yep.
Can you tell us more about that? Like how do you become a realtor in Costa Rica, and the better way? Because I know you can be, but there's some pros and some things that you promote as well, which I really agree with.
Yeah, it was a slippery slope for me where I came down convinced I never wanted to get involved in real estate.
And here
Very
you
much
are.
because this region had a boom going on, and I said, "Oh, I don't want to, put my hands on that." But I was offered the opportunity to supplement my income while I was working for a nonprofit by selling the lots in one particular residential project. That developer also had another project and gave me a second sales job after that had finished up. And so that was starting probably in 2012 or 2013 that, at first I was selling real estate somewhat on the side of my nonprofit job to help make ends meet. And then in 2017, when our second son was born, decided to fully dedicate myself to real estate. And at that time, I joined up with Coldwell Banker. A person I knew from the community was a broker there and wanted me to join his team. I really enjoyed doing business with this person, and so I went and joined Coldwell. Spent 4 years in the Coldwell Banker Tamarindo franchise.
Oh, your audio's cut off.
Pardon me, I had for just a moment, a call popped in, and
We're good.
Okay.
No problem.
Anyhow, so after 4 years with Coldwell Banker, I went independent in 2021.
Congrats.
Thank you. My wife and I started Latitude10 Realty. We're based in a very small community where, because I've lived here in this particular quiet spot for so long, I'm sort of everybody's listing agent. And now, especially through YouTube, I found it's very easy to connect with clients who need information about Costa Rica and investing here. And I've been able to provide hours of boring and informative videos through my channel.
I love it though. You even have like a restaurant time. So you went with your kids, and then you shared how to order certain things and how the service is. So we get a good feel for it before coming down to Costa Rica, which I think is amazing. And you answer a lot of frequently asked questions. What is rainy season? How is banking? Blah, blah, blah. Because all those questions come up all the time. But it's hard. A lot of countries, you don't have that. And as a real estate investor myself, I love investing in other countries. But before I do so, I want to know from other North American people that live there, how is it? How does it compare? What will be lacking and what's there as well? So where are the opportunities, Matt? Like, where do you see opportunities for investors? So I think a lot of your clientele, it's vacation homes, but I have a different spin on it. It's got to be a bit of a business. So what makes business sense to you right now?
It's interesting, our peninsula has been through a major development boom in 2000 to 2008 or 9 that sent some of these beach communities through the roof. And it did leave a lot of corners of our peninsula where development stalled during the 2009 and 10 mortgage meltdown in the U.S.
Yes.
It was obviously it was like a moment, a significant moment for a lot of places here because they had just started getting off the ground. And Absolutely. I think that the places for people with a medium and long-term perspective, right now you can find those communities where development stalled, and looking away from the tourism hubs, get very good value for your investment. And if you're willing to hold it until development sort of catches up in that particular area, be looking at significant returns and appreciation. I live in a community that's very much one of those spots that just development stopped and is now beginning to pick up again.
Okay.
Unfortunately, my community, which is Playa Junquillal, about 30 minutes south of Playa Tamarindo, is probably, some of the best opportunities here are already being snatched up. And in fact, 2 years ago, we still had properties on the market that were things that I felt were absolutely underpriced and simply just the best value on the market. That may not be the case anymore as those opportunities have been purchased. But very much places like Junquillal, if you go further south of us, there are very undeveloped beaches where currently what you could invest today and pick up a piece of land close to the beach would look like pennies in 10 or 15 or 20 years someday when you've seen that road get paved or a major hotel come in and bring an anchor business to the community.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Most of my listeners are Canadian. So for us, like unpaved roads sounds very foreign. I know there are some gravel roads, but they're really far. Like I haven't seen many in Canada, except if you go in the mountains in some sort of range. But in Costa Rica, it's more common, especially in the more rural areas. And that makes a big difference because dry season, okay, it's dusty, but rainy season, those unpaved roads make things a bit more challenging. You need to prepare, just like here with snow, we need to prepare. So when it's wet, maybe you need to stay home, depending on how the roads are done, or how do you kind of manage that, like those unpaved roads?
Yeah, for sure. And the important thing to understand is that only the major arteries are paved here.
Yeah.
And in fact, there are some of the best investment properties for, immediate returns. Those condos in tourism hubs might be on a potholed dirt road just off of a main drag.
But at least it's not too far. You've got, I don't know,
Exactly.
300 meters in potholes. So you go slow for a few minutes, then you're okay.
Yeah, for sure. And so there's absolutely, one of the biggest opportunities I feel, if investors want to park capital in something that will provide return immediately, one of the things that defines our rental market here is a lack of clever advertising and marketing on the part of property managers and a lot of the companies that are generating rental income for their clients. You can pick up condos, remodel them, create that really fresh Instagrammable rental unit. And because you're competing in Costa Rica for rentals, you can find that the competition is far less than obviously what the competition on Airbnb or VRBO would be in Toronto or Montreal. And I feel that anybody who has a bit of know-how in terms of promoting a property through Facebook advertising even, any one of a number of channels where you could connect your property with an audience, you've got an opportunity to stand out in a market and really get higher occupancy rates and produce decent return because you've got so many people who want to come to Costa Rica.
Yes.
We had 3.5 or 4 million international visitors prior to the pandemic per year. And while the pandemic absolutely slashed that number, now we have a huge surge going on because, there's few places on earth that provide that tropical getaway to US and Canadian citizens that are as stable, secure, and close, and accessible as Costa Rica. It takes longer to fly out to Hawaii than it
Oh
does
yeah.
for most US citizens to come down here. And although the infrastructure is rough, we have only those paved highways that are on major routes. This is absolutely a more developed and comfortable Central American country than Panama and everywhere else. And you see that the appeal and the experience that visitors can have is absolutely unique. You could go to Florida and be in a condo on the ocean that is one of 10 towers on that
That's
beach.
it.
We have jungle-lined, absolutely remote, beautiful beaches up and down the coastline that are absolutely unique as an international travel experience. And for example, if you live close to a major Canadian airport, it's likely that you can take a direct flight down to the Liberia International Airport, which is 30 minutes from some of these beaches. And so it's a unique combination of connectivity and that lush tropical getaway.
Yeah, and it's part of the charm. So those rustic roads might sound a bit daunting at first, but it makes you slow down. Unless you're Costa Rican, you don't. You just keep going full speed ahead. But if you're Canadian, you slow down, or American, you slow down. You don't want to wreck your car.
Yeah.
And you enjoy life. Pura Vida. There's a reason why that's said everywhere. And I think it's kind of part of it. But yes, connectivity is amazing. I live in Ottawa. Montreal is about a 2-hour drive, which is a major airport. And we had direct flights from Montreal to Liberia. And then I bought in Playas del Coco. So very stable, very established community. But now I feel I'm ready to look at those more undiscovered gems, or anyway, less discovered. And I love that in Costa Rica you can build almost anything because you don't need insulation, you don't need heating. So it really changes the way, like the building style. You can have indoor, outdoor a lot more. Here it's just not feasible. In January, if you have an indoor, outdoor room, you'll just die in there. So you'll freeze to death. So the architecture can be quite different. And I love that, like you said, Instagrammable views or vistas. The building code's very different, obviously, as well. You do need permits and things, but what you can do is so different. So for someone who's not used to investing internationally, what would be the first step? What would you say would be a first like decent project in your opinion?
Yeah, I think that in terms of which property they should acquire on their first buy, there are so many options for those stable, easy to use condos or homes that are in gated communities, or little projects that have done a cohesive neighborhood plan.
Yes,
That sort of
that's a
option.
big one.
Yeah, that sort of option exists here, and definitely for a beginning Costa Rica investor, because this market is almost 100% a cash market for foreigners investing here, you do find that things move slower in listing timelines.
It's not bidding wars.
Yeah, and you don't see quite as many immediate sales. If you buy something that is far more accessible and that tame sort of investment, you're going to be able to resell it someday and move on when you need to do so. I think one of the biggest mistakes people can make is that they get the dream for an absolutely spectacular creative concept. And here you can accomplish that. You're allowed to build with yurts or whatever you
I
dream
know.
of creating in the jungle. But they'll get this concept and then they'll buy a piece of land in a remote mountaintop and put their community there. They absolutely love it to death and it's their favorite place on earth. But someday when they try to liquidate their investment,
Good luck.
good luck. And, really in investing here and advising people, my first and foremost recommendation is that you're really looking for the location that fits your goals to begin with. Costa Rica is not uniform whatsoever, and we have no large quantity of that similar housing that makes it easy to sort of just pick out a house in a suburb of Toronto and move on.
Yeah, you can't do comparables everywhere. There's no MLS, so you can't just go and
Yeah, absolutely. Our Realtors Association is in the process of implementing an MLS down here, but
yeah,
you would find that 10 minutes outside of Playas del Coco, where Francois has invested, are beaches that are utterly different and would not be at all a good fit for his goal of generating steady rental returns.
yeah.
So to me, the great thing is that you want to come down and visit Costa Rica and first find that community that really feels like, okay, this is a place that will fit, X, Y, and Z goals that I have. There are a million different microclimates here as well. I mean, they're all warm and they're definitely rainy during a good part of the year, but there's a lot of variation within that where, in Guanacaste, we have our 4-month dry season with an ecosystem looks more like Northern California. In the mountain areas, you can get much cooler weather with, downright rainy weather for a large part of the year. Down south, you see torrential rainstorms with lots of humidity throughout the year. And
Almost like monsoons.
yeah, absolutely. And for some people, you might visit Costa Rica at one particular time of the year.
That's perfect.
And think that this is absolute paradise, but the fact is 6 months later, it's going to be a very different situation that you may really regret having planted your flag there. So yeah, I'd say the first move is to visit no matter what.
Yeah, no, that's very smart. It's kind of like Canada. I mean, you could have a cottage in the mountains. It sounds great. And then you get 2 meters of snow and you find out the town does not plow the roads.
Yeah.
And now you can't rent your cottage and the power is out and it's going to take a week to bring it back. So same thing. You have to discover the country, reach out to someone like Matt and his team and get to learn the communities, what makes sense to you, your age group as well. So I'm in my early 40s, but let's say I'm 65. It's very different. Maybe I don't want a million steps and maybe a condo. It's nice, turnkey at 41. It's not so bad. I can manage, hopefully.
Yeah.
So you have to think about your lifestyle and the future and always resell. And as you mentioned, the golden rule of real estate, location, location, location. So those fun tree houses are more just that, fun and harder to sell. They're great to look at, maybe great to operate for a while, but how do you resell or get your money out? That's a very different question. Because I know like in North America, we complain about infrastructures, highway taking 50 years to be built. The same happens in Costa Rica as well. It takes forever. So.
Oh, absolutely. No, and this is a country where you will hear more, nonsense sales pitches because of
cash flow and
well, and there's a lot less accountability when it comes to, developers making promises here that never get fulfilled.
Yeah.
For example, or infrastructure not actually getting put in.
Coming eventually.
Oh, absolutely. There's one of the most tragic things I see is, people who are used to doing business in, some place in the world where it would be illegal to lie so substantively about the project that's being implemented in, a gated community and where it stands. Where you'd have a realtor who had the licensing requirements and all kinds of backup to make it very difficult for anything to go wrong with a transaction. Whereas, yes, in Costa Rica, you see the more of a Wild West feeling. It's getting better every year, and there's work going on to, professionalize everything and control real estate so that there's less risk. But you will meet developers who look you straight in the eye and tell you all about amenities that are going to be in their community. And the only possibility for them to actually build those amenities is if they sell every single piece of property in the project for full value within the next month. They're just speculating that they could have this cash flow to add the amenity, and all kinds of people who come down and say, wow, I can't wait to have an equestrian center and multi-tiered pool and gym and yoga salon, on and on. I gotta buy this house now. And 15 years later, the developer, has completely washed their hands of the project and, essentially sold inventory, headed for the hills, and left people wanting. So it's definitely a market where you have to be wary of who you're working with, and very careful when you're selecting your realtor, your contractor, the lawyer who will help you with your transaction. And it's a place where, rather than, getting on the typical online databases that you might expect to use in Canada, down here, you're going to have to go to the local bar and ask everybody's opinion of X, Y, or Z contractor if you're considering hiring them. And you'll get tons of information. It's just not the same process that you have elsewhere.
It's very different, because just to put it in perspective as well, the population of the country is like 5.6 million roughly. So that's like the province of Alberta in Canada.
Yep.
So, and in the US, that's a very small state, 5.6 million people. I'm not sure. State, New Hampshire or something, maybe. I don't know. But in Canada, it's still not the biggest province. And it's spread over quite a large territory, cultural differences and things. So you have to work with someone qualified with experience and integrity. So Matt, if people want to get a hold of you and learn more about investing in Costa Rica, what's the best way to get a hold of you, or at least find out more?
I'm available if you email info at lat10realty.com, lat10realty.com. You can also find me and my news, the information I'm giving, by searching for my hashtag on YouTube. Definitely, it's been a busy market lately, and the reason I want you to email info is that it'll get my assistant and my wife on the email as well as me. And I highly recommend, making a visit to see if this feeling is right. It's an utterly beautiful country. We have a rural area with very small communities. That 5 million people that we have in Costa Rica, almost, I think it's 70 or 80% of the population is concentrated in an urban Central Valley that's not even part of the region I'm talking about. So it's quiet, it's very small compared to the developed cities of Canada. And for some people, that's an absolute dream come true. Other people can come to Costa Rica and say, I need more in my life, and I want to see bigger and better things, and
just not right.
Right.
Yeah, where's Walmart? Where's Costco? And where's the highway?
But yeah, you do have, we do have now a Walmart and actually a Costco, really.
I know.
We have a wonderful balance in that, yes, 30 minutes away from my house, there is a huge supermarket with everything I'd expect to see in a US supermarket. But another 8 minutes from my house, just down to the beach, we've got a little spot where nobody ever walks. You can be alone on the beach.
Wow.
Virtually any time of the week except for Fridays
Weekend.
at sunset. And so, we do have a lot of amenities that can make life pretty comfortable for foreigners, and that lost world sort of undeveloped beach aesthetic as well.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's beautiful, and like you said, you just have to get used to it and make it work for you. And first of all, check out if it does work for you. It's not for everybody, but I'd say it's for a lot of people. It feels really good. You just have to relax, maybe enjoy some wine or beer. The beer is quite good down there. I'm not a beer drinker, but I did enjoy the local beers.
Yeah.
And there's lots of good fruit, vegetable. You just feel healthier being in Costa Rica. So it makes a lot of sense. Well, thank you so much for your time and for sharing a bit of your knowledge. We'll have to catch up sometime. I'm supposed to go back to Costa Rica in a few months, so we'll have to meet in person. And you'll have to show me your little piece of paradise. It does sound like a great spot, maybe a little bit off the beaten path for me, but I'd love to see it, and who knows what's going to happen. So
you can join me here in the Latitude 10 office in Playa Funchal.
I love that. Yeah, maybe bring a Canadian flag.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much and all the best.
Thank you, Francois. I appreciate it. Have a good day.
You too. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Hey there, listeners. We hope you enjoyed this latest episode of the Wine and Real Estate Podcast.
Yes, absolutely. You can find us on Instagram. Our handle is wine_and_real estate. So wine and real estate. On Facebook, FL Homes Corp. And you can also find us on our YouTube channel.
Yes, and please make sure to give us a rating, 5 stars, or any comments. We'd love to hear from you. And we love suggestions as well. Cheers.
Yeah, chin chin.